You're listening to 1055 The Colorado Sound. Remember, you can hear us around the world at coloradosound.org. My name's Ben. I'm sitting with members of Wolf Alice, both Theo and Joff. Guys, thanks for being here. I just let's just jump right into it. So you guys did just release your fourth album, The Clearing. What would you say is the difference between this album and your previous work?
Well, hey Ben, thanks for having us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there are a bunch of differences, I guess. I think there's a bit more space on this record. I think we leaned into a kind of aesthetic that was maybe a little bit more traditional in terms of sounds, in terms of band sounds and textures and things. I think we were trying to lean more into songwriting and kind of work on songwriting in that traditional sense. Could we could we play these songs on one instrument with one instrument and one voice, and would they still be compelling? And we worked from there, which was new for us and a really fun challenge.
Something else that was new for you guys for this album, you got to work with Greg Kurstin, who's, worked with name a band or artist of the last 30 years, and he's probably worked with them. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was amazing. He's a wonderful person. Um, he's just a maverick. He's like really good at his job.
Yeah. Is there
It's
anything? Oh, sorry, don't want to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say it's wonderful to see. He's a real virtuoso pianist at the forefront of things. And sometimes when you see someone truly in their element, like Greg is when he's wrangling a song in his head, like when you've presented him something and he sits at the piano, that was one of my favorite experiences watching someone like Greg kind of make sense of something with just tinkling around and like figuring it out, seeing how the picture is painted in his head. And yeah, he's really, really nice as well, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, it makes you realize like there are levels to everything. It's like this guy really is just a real master at his craft. So you guys have, you've been around for a minute now. You've released four studio albums. Your career as a band is a couple decades at this point. What's something you're most proud of in your music career?
Not quite a couple of decades yet.
Not
Yeah,
quite.
we're not that old yet.
Just cross,
Not quite.
only just crossed one decade.
Uh,
Still got it. We still got it.
what am I proud of? Proud of everything, man. To be honest, every day, like even like I really like just the small wins, being able to play. Like we've just started our tour in Europe, and like it's been a minute since we've been here. We put our last record out quite the height of COVID. Touring was a bit strange, so waking up on a tour bus in Prague, which is an incredibly beautiful city, and getting to play a show, for me, today's my success. Yeah.
To piggyback off that a little bit, something you're most proud of, what's an example of adversity that you've faced as a band?
Um, God. I think sometimes people can maybe, it actually is probably no fault of their own, more ours, not understand creatively what you're trying to do, or maybe try and discourage you from doing what you're kind of setting out to do a little bit. And sometimes that can be a hard thing to wrangle with because it takes a lot of confidence to try something, and when your confidence gets knocked and you kind of start to doubt yourself, I think that happens to everyone in lots of different walks of life, but that's happened to us before. And I think as the four of us, we've managed to kind of pluck up the collective courage to carry on doing certain things creative with creative ideas. I'm sure everyone has their own, personal adversities. Touring and being away from home a lot is probably a pretty big thing. But as a collective, I always think we've managed to kind of like get through a lot together, which is I'm proud of.
Yeah, I have a couple more for you guys. So if I get this correctly, Wolf Alice you were originally just like an acoustic duo, just Ellie and Joff. What led to expanding the band and ultimately the sound? Because I would not describe you guys as an acoustic band anymore. What
Well,
ultimately led to where you are today?
I'll let you know that being an acoustic duo got us absolutely nowhere.
So
No, it
that's the
was a
answer.
good, like, it was a great starting point. And you work with what you've got. And we had like a couple of acoustic guitars. So that's what we kind of used really, and like I don't know, an egg shaker and a tambourine, and then I remember it was a bit of a thing at that point. You know, there was that kind of new folk scene that like Jeffrey Lewis, kind of I don't know, Laura Marning's Johnny Flynn thing that was happening at the time. But I think it was a great incubator for kind of writing songs and developing songs, because if you haven't got a lot, you kind of have to do a lot with what you have, you know. And that's, you know, in our case, it was how, you know, again, just songwriting, I guess. And then I don't know. I think the scene changed, and I think we were kind of. I did. It didn't. Elements of it felt right, but I think we felt like there was an area of expression that we weren't quite tapping into. I remember hearing people like Gross Magic at the time, and kind of slightly noisier bands, and we kind of went, oh, maybe we should do something like this. Maybe I remember getting a rehearsal space, and we got a friend of mine to come and play the drums, and a friend of Ellie's to come and play the bass, and you know, it felt good. It felt good, so we pursued it. It kind of typical, you know, Wolf Alice really. It felt good, so we pursued it. And for whatever reason, those guys, it didn't work out for those guys, and we were introduced to the wonderful Theo and Joel, and it just kind of clicked. As soon as those guys were in the rehearsal room, you know, immediately right. The kind of scope of stuff that we could do and the palette that we now had, it felt really, I don't know, it felt really powerful.
It's a great answer. I'm talking to Theo and Joff of Wolf Alice. I have two more for you guys. First, what's your favorite song from the album?
Changes all the time. I do
Yeah, it
think,
depends on what day it is.
yeah. Because obviously, like we're playing the set each night, so it's kind of like depending on if I have an absolute horrendous show with one song, then I can fall out of love pretty quickly. I think the sofa for me. And
Okay.
it wasn't at first at all. It was kind of like but I just had such a wonderful experience recording it with Greg. It was one of the things that was at the end. It was kind of like your time is up in the studio. You need to have the album done now. The label don't want to talk to you anymore unless you finish it. And we squeezed it in, and it was wicked. And it was like
Nice.
it was just so fun. And I remember the orchestration coming together, and everyone was like, oh, screw all the rules, man, we can just put everything in here. And it's kind of felt like waving goodbye, and I love that song, and it resonates with quite a lot of people in different ways, which is really cool.
It's a great song. It's a great song. Okay, so one more, and I ask this to every band or artist that I talk to, so I have to ask you guys. So the radio station that I work for, that we're on, is 105.5 FM, 105.5 the Colorado Sound. So I ask you, what band or artist would you drive 105.5 miles to go see? But it can be any
Wow.
band or artist ever. They can be dead or alive. It could be
Oh, God.
Beethoven. You just have to
Oh,
drive 105.5 miles to go see
if
them.
I drive 105.5 miles for bands I don't even like that much.
Yeah, yeah.
People do
It's
it in
not a it's
people
not
do
to
it in
like
America all the
overthink.
time. That's where you
Yeah,
get
it's
people
not that
coming
far.
outside
Yeah.
gigs in America being like, I drove 12 hours to see you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would drive and see the Velvet Underground
Mm.
in New York, in I
Nice.
don't know, one of their crazy warehouse spaces,
Yeah.
and watch that.
Nice.
I would drive, and maybe I'd drive and see no, maybe the Sex Pistols.
Mm.
Okay. Nice.
But the Sex Pistols did kind of start at a Ramones gig, so maybe I'd go to the Ramones gig where the Sex Pistols kind of
When they
start.
opened up. Nice.
I could see everyone and have a Ramones gig.
That's great. That's great. Well, Theo and Joff, thanks for being here.
Nice one. Thanks so much.
Thank you.